Consciousness.
So today we're looking at everything we don't know about the mind, and it is by Aperture. So go and check them out. This is a new YouTube channel that I'm building up basically, and like trying to get the algorithm to recommend me good content that I can react to. So yeah, this is 3 hours long, so it's going to be a multi-part series, me reacting to it. But let's get it popping.
Consciousness. It's our awareness, our understanding, our ignorance. Our daily consciousness leaves out more than it takes in. And due to this, it leaves out important things. Things that would help relieve us if we knew them. If we had a higher awareness, a better consciousness, we would feel better. We would be more at peace with things. The deep down truth of things is screened by our consciousness. Our sensory organs will pick things out. Our eyes can only see certain things. Our ears can only hear certain things.
Yeah, we block out a lot of what we're hearing because it's the mind sees it as unnecessary information, and it prioritizes mental resources to things that do matter. So, for instance, like you might notice that you don't hear yourself walking. You hear other people scuffing their feet on the floor, but you don't hear yourself. But then if you get stoned, your what's it called? There's a word for it. Basically, your inhibition is lowered, and you start hearing noises that you wouldn't usually take notice of. So like it will sound like someone's walking behind you, but really it's your own footsteps, and you're not used to hearing your own footsteps because they're not important like in day-to-day life. So yeah, it's just interesting.
We have to create instruments and other tools to see things we as humans cannot, to expand our understanding and thus our ego, or consciousness. Humans evolved and became the dominant species on Earth by a long shot. It's due to our innate ability to network with each other. If humanity was wiped out and restarted, like loading an old save file, communities would still form. Structures within society are inevitable due to the variety of brains. Some are good at critical thinking, others are more artistic.
See, that's true. I had someone argue against me that that's not true, but some people are just more inclined to artistic things, and other people more inclined to logical, mathematical, mechanical things. That is true. And I had someone who has 3 PhDs try and argue against me that that's not true, just because it's supposedly anecdotal. But like the thing is, yeah, is that I've seen this over and over and over and over again. It's just a disagreeable guy, man.
However, we are all wired with some innate features. Just as humans form societies that evolve, other creatures do as well. But we're different. We are customizable characters, basically. We can kind of mold ourselves into whatever kind of person we want to be. We can't know for certain that animals or any other life on Earth is conscious or can even function in the same way that we do. Let's put it this way. I know that I have my own thoughts and feelings and emotions, but how can I know for certain that you or anyone else does?
That's a scary thought, man, and obviously it's not true in my opinion. It's pretty obvious other people have consciousness, but I mean, like, it could just be one big dream. You could be the only being. It could all be in your head. It could be a simulation. It could be whatever. Like, it's scary, man.
There's no way I can go to your head and see things 100% from your perspective. I can't know what you're thinking, or if you can even think in the first place. To truly understand the universe, to understand and actually experience life, you have to give yourself up. There's no point in sustaining bliss, in being permanently at an all-time high. The life you're living is what you have put yourself into, what ego you've formed, only you don't want to admit it. You want to believe it happened to you. Day to day, you play non-bliss in order to be able to experience bliss. You put yourself into bad situations, you let in the negative experiences in life just to feel some kind of satisfaction when it goes the other way. Self implies other, white implies black, death implies life. You can feel your existence as fundamental.
He's getting deep on this.
Not as an accident.
One thing we do know about the mind, however, is that just like the body needs regular checkup to maintain optimal health, the mind does as well. The best way to get this checkup is through a credentialed therapist. I know therapy can be difficult to access for most people, but not anymore, thanks to the paid partner of today's episode, BetterHelp.
Okay, I'm sorry, dude.
A difficult time in your life, or you just want to have regular mental health checkups to make sure your mind is in peak condition.
Actually, because mental health is such a personal issue for me, having bipolar disorder, I'm going to keep this advert in for people.
I can't recommend therapy enough. There was a time where I really struggled with imposter syndrome making videos on this channel.
Yeah, I've got that too. It's where you it's where you're, from what I can remember, it's where you nothing is good enough, nothing's perfect. Like you work your ass off and you keep working, and nothing's good enough, and you just feel like you're a fake, you're a phony, and you're never going to go anywhere.
Spending time with my therapist allowed me to fully understand why I was feeling that and how to overcome it. Today I'm in a much better place mentally and more confident in my abilities. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy accessible to everyone. All you have to do is answer a few questions, and usually in as little as a few days, you'll get assigned a professional credentialed therapist.
Oh, that's good that you can tick that you're either Christian or LGBTQ or whatever, so you can get a tailored experience. I like that. That's cool.
If you don't like the therapist you work,
I'm a Christian myself, so that would be like really. I might even look into this because, man, I do need therapy. I have had therapy and it's really helped me, but I could really do with consistent, regular therapy. I really could.
Assigned for any reason, BetterHelp makes it super easy to switch to a new one, completely free, so you can make sure you have the best connection possible with your therapist. It's super important to feel comfortable, and you can make sure you're extra comfortable by having your sessions through phone call, video chat, or messaging.
I love that.
Whatever feels best for you. With BetterHelp, getting started with therapy is now super easy. Just click the link in the description down below and go to betterhelp.com/aperture, or choose Aperture to get 10% off your first month and connect with the right therapist for you.
The only problem is like, I'm pretty sure anyone can call themselves a therapist. At least in the UK, I'm pretty sure you can at least call yourself a life coach, no matter what. Like, you can just pose as a life coach and then give people quote unquote therapy through that. So like, anyone can do that. I could do that. I'm good at talking to people, but I don't want to be a phony.
Back to our story.
I'm not saying they're phonies, by the way. I'm just saying.
At the basic level, at the lowest level imaginable, you are the fundamentals of existence. The same thing that makes you is the same thing that makes up everything else. If you can step back from what you believe, if you can step back from what your sensory organs have turned you into, you start to see things for what they actually are. Do you define yourself as a victim of the world, or as the world? Love is only possible due to the lack of self. You give up all your secrets, the walls you've built to keep people at an arm's distance slowly lower, one by one, until you're a completely open book, until all your pages have been read, and the rest of the pages are blank, waiting to be filled with this newfound love.
That is beautiful. Do you know what? Like, that is beautiful. We're 4 minutes into the video, a 3-hour video, and this guy has already like said the most inspirational, like beautiful stuff. Like, really, really, truly beautiful.
In basketball, or soccer, or football, you're constantly giving the ball to someone else. The point of the game is to have the ball in your hand for the least amount of time. To constantly be passing it to someone else, to shoot it, to get it out of your hands. It keeps the game going, and life is the same way. If you define yourself, you, as only being what your ego is, as the things you do voluntarily, then you're the victim. It's because of some higher power that you were put here when you didn't ask for it. But what about the things you do involuntarily? Do you beat your heart, or does it just happen to you? You do those things, even though you don't know how. Words don't work here. As Alan Watts said, everyone is fundamentally the alternate reality. Not God in a traditional sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all of that. Only you're pretending you're not. A mind that can ask, who am I? Why am I here? What is the purpose of all of this? Tends to forget. As I said, your consciousness tends to leave out critical information at times. A consciousness that can view the world and take in sensory information tends to forget what's behind those eyes. A mind that hasn't gone deep enough to find where those questions come from. Because the same place those questions come from is the same place those answers lie.
I'll tell you what, cognitive behavioural therapy is amazing. I know there's mixed bag results and reviews of it, but for me, I had a really good, I had 14 one-hour sessions, and it completely changed my life and my outlook and how I go about my day-to-day business and how I feel mentally and how prepared I am to deal with life's challenges. It really, 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 really helped me. And I said to this geezer who was giving me the lessons, I said to him, I was like, this feels kind of like Stoicism. And he said, yeah, that's the basis of CBT, was it derived from Stoicism.
The brain controls everything. In order to go to the extremes of the universe, to places we can only dream of going, We must first dive deep into something that is all inside of us. Take the Big Bang, for example. Now there's hundreds, thousands of theories as to how we came into existence, but let's go with this one. You believe that you are strictly you. Your human body is all that you are and all that you have ever been. You're simply a small speck of dust in a vast sea of galaxies, stars, planets. You're irrelevant. But rolling back the clock, things get smaller. The universe was more compact. The atoms that make you up are building blocks of the universe, of the hot gas clouds that formed stars, that allowed solar systems to form, that allowed planets like Earth to form. If you keep rolling back this clock, you were around at the very instant everything came into existence. That is you too. When everything was infinitesimally small, you were there. But we define ourselves as being only us, mere humans walking on a planet that we didn't ask to get put on. But frankly, every one of us somehow made this happen. We just go on and pretend we didn't. It's because of how we define ourselves.
People don't take enough personal responsibility. Like, I think that's kind of what he's driving at. People don't take enough personal responsibility for why they are like why they are like they are, and why they're where they are. Like, sorry, that just come out completely wrong. People don't take enough responsibility for why they are, and where they are because of where they are. Like, it's interesting. Like, people just act as if they're floating along in the ocean without any control. But you can take control of your life. You can't control what other people do around you or what happens to you necessarily all the time. But you can control how you react to it and how you think about it and what steps you take in the world, what actions and behaviour. It's just most people are at the whim of their limbic system, and they haven't got. So basically, the limbic system controls basic stuff like motor movements, but it's also the seat of emotions and the fight or flight response. So most people, they're at the whim of this because the limbic system can take over the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is where your personality is and your rationale and your decision making. So that's who you are, the prefrontal cortex. That's you, your personality, and your logical, rational thinking. So you can think logically all you want that spider is not gonna hurt you, but your limbic system will put you in panic, fight or flight mode and take over and give you the irrational fear. The same with emotions. Emotions take over. That's why people get emotional and they end up killing someone or doing something like that, because they're not logically thinking. Their limbic system has taken over, usually fight or flight.
Are you the victim, or are you the world? As cringy as it may sound, everyone you meet is just a small packet of the universe. A present, whether they're a pleasant one or not, that was packaged together from billions of years of engineering and architecture on a universal scale. But instead, we define ourselves as something completely separate from it, something not connected whatsoever, which is a foolish view. We tend to search for how the universe came into being, but we're just the universe trying to understand itself. In order to get to that conclusion, we have to reframe our mindset. We're not as different as we all think. Your name is given to you at birth. Your ideas and personality are collected from the world. Scraps, bits and pieces here and there cling to you like a magnet. So what part of you is you? We are all different manifestations of consciousness, but we are all fundamentally the same thing. We all may have different egos, different personalities, but when you step back, drop the ego, we are all connected.
By the way, ego doesn't just mean like prideful, whatever. Ego is your sense of self, your you, like your consciousness and your personality.
View the universe as a forest. Every one of us is a twig, a leaf, a branch. But together, we form life. Our origin, our roots, are connected together. Just as the roots of trees form a vast network which brings these massive forests to life, humanity's roots all come from the same place.
That's interesting. It's like how fungus underground all connects with each other. I think they found I think it was in America, there's a forest where all the trees are one big tree. They're all connected and they're all one big tree. And there's also other places where there's miles and miles of fungus that's all connected and is all the same system. And when one bit of fungus gets damaged or attacked, the whole system knows about it and can adapt accordingly, which is amazing.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form of energy to
This is your brain when you're struggling to
Oh,
focus.
go away, man. I need to get YouTube Premium,
really,
don't I?
But getting in the zone and staying there, that feels...
Do you know what? Like, on my short reviews, I do review adverts, so I'm going to review adverts on this as well.
It's more like luck than something you can control. So that's why we made Brain FM. It's like
Let's
a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes. Using science and sound, Brain FM guides your brainwaves into an optimal state for productivity called neural phase locking, which lets different parts of your brain work together more easily. Compared to average music, Brain FM actually increases and sustains your focus over time, letting you stay in the zone for as long as you want. You can also use Brain FM for relaxation, meditation, and even sleep. But don't take our word for it. Join millions of others and try it yourself for free, and see what you get done with Brain FM.
Interesting. Fortunately, I don't have a problem with focusing. And if I do, because I've got bipolar, I get manic, and I'm on it. Like, I am on it. I don't need any help. But if I do need some help, I listen to my own artificial intelligent generated music, like lo-fi music, on my other channel, everything bite-sized. But yeah, no, like, that's interesting.
But many of us have this fear that it's all going to be transferred from one place. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form of energy to another. But many of us have this fear that it's all going to come to an end. And while yes, your life will end, your energy will not. It will continue onward, forever.
Maybe that's what the soul is.
But our consciousness has convinced us otherwise. We form this thought process, almost like we've been hypnotized, to think that we are all there is and all there ever will be, and that it's all going to come to an end. This leaves us unsatisfied and unhappy. But the universe is continuous, and you are technically the universe, so you will continue on as well. Your death is not the end of you. It's the death of your ego.
Interesting.
Many people experience the same exact thing while living. Ego death.
Yeah, psychedelics will bring that about quickly. I highly recommend not taking psychedelics or taking any kind of recreational drugs. I'm quite strict about it on my other channel because I'm a recovering heroin and crack addict, and I started with simple things like weed, coke, like etc., and then it soon progressed to psychedelics. I kind of lost the sense of who I was. I'm not going to say there's no merit to using psychedelics in a controlled setting with an aim in mind, and like safely and securely. But the problem is you don't know how you're going to react to psychedelics until you're actually in the midst of a trip. And half the trips I've ever had have been bad trips. I don't know if that's because of my bipolar, like underlying. But like, yeah, no, I highly recommend you do not take psychedelics. It
tends to be induced through psychedelic drugs, LSD, shrooms, the list goes on.
Yeah.
While working on this video, I actually experienced it myself, and although not intentional, it provided clarity in a way I've never before experienced. It's not the ego in the vernacular sense, as describing a person's self-worth. It's the philosophical ego. It's the complete loss of subjective self-identity. Everything that you believe you are will disappear. You're void of emotion, of connection to anything around you, of connection to what makes you, you. The idea of being a person doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you blend into the whole environment and you feel like you're a part of everything. You lose sense of who you are, and it gives you a greater appreciation for life and how connected everything is, and how it can completely transform your life overnight and turn you into a better person. Or it can do like what I've seen and just change people for the worse, like forever. So you're rolling the dice when you take psychedelics. I'm warning you, like it's not necessarily going to be the answer to your life. You can achieve the same sort of level of appreciation of the universe without psychedelics. It's just not as easy. Psychedelics are like a quick, not fix, but a quick way to experience this sort of thing. You can get to this level without psychedelics.
The words I, me, and myself have zero meaning whatsoever. The world can normally be put into two categories, myself and not myself. While experiencing ego death, this line is blurred. I am completely gone. There's only the awareness of existence. The lifetime accumulation of your thoughts and emotions are put on pause. It's as if you're on a cliff approaching an infinite void beneath you. Your life is continuous and exists all the way up the mountain until you reach the edge. Beneath you, though, is the unknown. Ego death is jumping into that void, leaving behind everything you've ever known. It's as if you've stepped out of your body into a separate entity.
It's as if you've actually died, and often I even had this, like, and I was an experienced tripper. Like, there was multiple times where I thought, okay, I've died. This is it. I'm gone. And it can be very scary. But at the same time, near-death experiences can be very enlightening and give you a new appreciation for life. And I think that's half of what these experiences are. It's not just like the death of ego. It's like you feel like you've fully died and you've gone somewhere. And then when you come out of the trip, you're more appreciative for life. But yeah, again, I highly recommend you don't do it.
You start to see things for what they actually are. But things don't actually exist. Things is just a noun. It's a fragment of speech. And speech is just another instrument we've created to try and understand the world around us. Our senses allow us to go about our daily lives and traverse the world, but they don't really offer any explanations, so we have to make them up ourselves. While experiencing ego death, you disconnect from all of that. You have a heightened awareness. It's truly as if you're experiencing a higher level of consciousness that no person can understand.
Yeah.
You reach this level that words can't explain. The instruments we made to try and understand our place in the universe shatter completely. Explaining it in terms of I saw or I felt don't seem reasonable. Our languages are instruments created to explain things that someone experiences. But while undergoing ego death, there is no someone. There is no me. So how do you describe it? It's as if your slate was wiped clean, your character's save file was corrupted, but you're still in the game. Because of this, ego death can be scary, but it can also be a very enlightening experience. It's both constricting and freeing. It's white and black. It's like you're defining what life is like through experiencing death. We cannot be more sensitive and welcoming to pleasure without being more sensitive and accepting to pain. You're flying and sinking at the same time, being pulled from below, and above, in every direction, at once. While going through it, I ended up reaching a moment of acceptance. Ego death, while often extremely anxiety-inducing, offers a glimpse into a reality free of that. A life free of your personal flaws, your daily thoughts, your responsibilities. It personally feels as if time is frozen, and wherever your mind wanders is free to judge things as they truly are.
So
you are the observer and the observable. Surprisingly, the conclusion I came to is the same conclusion I came to while making a previous video of mine, and it's that nothing in life really matters.
So as much as I agree with the majority of what he's saying, yeah, I do agree with the majority of what he's saying. I just think it's a bit. He should add a caveat, he should tell people that it's dangerous to use psychedelics, in my opinion, because he's sort of encouraging it. And as I said before, you can get these realizations like without psychedelics. It just takes longer, and you have to really work on yourself. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just warning you guys. Like,
fear in general tends to come from us not being able to make peace with the chaos that is the universe, not being able to cope with the idea of entropy, that everything is tending towards disorder. Forming an ego is disorderly in the same way. You go further and further down your own tunnel and stray further from everyone else. Experiencing ego death is breaking out of that tunnel, pulling back, and understanding that the network of these tunnels that encompass every human on Earth all eventually return back to the same place. When I die, when my ego is completely gone forever, when my physical body breaks down and no longer resembles the form it's in today, I'll still somehow be here. Right now, I'm an hourglass. The sand is slowly leaking its way to the bottom, and eventually it'll all be there. It's the end of the line for me. But when that day comes, the universe will stop by, take the hourglass, flip it over, and whatever made me will then become something entirely different.
That is beautiful, man. What the hell? Like, this geezer's deep.
We're all just a temporary collection of atoms, and whatever you and I subjectively believe we are won't last forever. But objectively, we will. For now, Just enjoy the ride.
I think that's a good spot to end it on for part 1. You've been locked into Nuclear Reaction Faction. Subscribe for more and check out my other videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.